the associations, because you've been in association world for many years. You are active also now, and I will actually start with what excites you in working with associations.
The wonderful thing about working in associations is bringing people together who have a shared interest and building a community around that so that they learn from each other and they also have fun together.
How does the old slogan of MPI resonates to you? When we meet, we change the world.
Yes, I think all of us during the pandemic, we learned to what meetings is all about, and that worked very well. But we did learn that as soon as the pandemic was over, when we actually met each other in person again, it was like magic.
Mm-hmm. What can you say about the marriage between destinations, PCOs, associations? How does it work by your opinion? What is good and what is negative? Is there any good example you can share?
I think the word marriage is probably a good way to describe the relationship between all of us. I think one of the most important aspects of a good marriage is listening. And that is something that we are good at as an industry. So we come together at shows like this one, and also through our associations, through IAPCO and INCON and ICA. And we learn to collaborate and work together in a seamless fashion for our clients.
You mentioned now 3 associations. We spoke with Gorazd about ICA and with people from ICA. We spoke also with people from IAPCO. What could you tell us about INCON? What is INCON all about?
So INCON is a partnership of the leading conference organizers in the world. And the INCON partners, they come together really to learn from each other, to share best practice, really on business. So they are all leaders in their sector, and they share this knowledge. And by doing that, then they're in a better position to provide excellent services to their clients.
How many members are in INCON?
We have 12 companies, and that represents a staff of 3,500 people globally.
It's such an interesting thing because let's call it a small association with 12 members. And that on its own is quite unique. How do you see it? It's probably more effective than certain other associations, would you say?
Yeah, of course. When you bring 12 chief executives into a room, I suppose it's simpler in some ways, but it's probably where we do have a lot of added value because we're able to have conversations in a way that we trust each other. So we have those kind of open and frank conversations. And I suppose in a lot of larger associations, they can learn that. So by breaking our associations down into smaller groups, into specialty areas, I think we can learn and exchange quite well in that type of format.
Mm-hmm. Can you compare IAPCO versus your association?
Well, IAPCO includes the associations of conference organizers from all over the world. So it is a very international group, and it represents everybody. And INCON has evolved over the years where there has just been a smaller group of CEOs with common interest coming together. So they're quite different organizations, but they do obviously have the same clients, which are the people looking to organize events and conferences globally.
Is there also a trend in your between your members that agencies are becoming, as we call in marketing, full service agencies, so also offering media buying, media creation, content marketing services, PR, and all other activities? Is this a trend also in your environment?
Yeah, absolutely. So I would say, particularly since the pandemic, a lot of the events and conferences company found themselves working in areas and supporting clients in many areas that they hadn't done in the past. And I think what we would do as conferences and event professionals is we follow our clients and we help them in the best way we can. And sometimes when it comes to digital marketing and community building and digital communications, the conference organizer is best placed to advise their clients on how to communicate out to delegates and attendees, maybe better than the standard PR agencies might do.
If we talk about PCOs and we talk about agencies, talk about one of the pillars of the meetings industry. And if we look at the meetings industry from your perspective, what would be the big, let's call them challenges, but also great opportunities from your perspective as INCON?
Yeah, so yesterday I was speaking at the Association Leaders Forum on behalf of ESAE, and one of the things that we talked about was we had a panel on AI. And it's quite interesting because you have people with different perspectives on AI. I would be an advocate for how we can use AI as associations, as conference organizers. So many of us are very busy people, and we often find it difficult to do everything in a day. And I think that this technology is helping us. It's like having your own virtual administration assistant, but it's also helping us to think about things in a creative way and to think about things in a different way than the way we would have done it in the past. And I think unless we really get a grasp on how to leverage AI, how to leverage digital, we might find that we will no longer be able to compete in such a fast-paced environment.
Do you think the AI can deliver also solutions to some of the other problems? Like, we know that we see that the landscape is changing. There are huge investments happening, for instance, in the Middle East. There are very big investments happening in Asia, in China. Europe, in many ways, is perhaps not as progressive. Do you think that we could kind of resolve certain challenges with AI in kind of catching up with certain challenges that Europe experiences because perhaps it's not building that many new venues, not that, it is also a population of people that are getting older. So do you see there as a combination and a challenge?
Yeah, I'm not an expert on things like healthcare, but certainly that is an area that I have heard anecdotal evidence where AI is going to be able to maybe help us innovate in the area of healthcare. But I think in our industry where we're organizing events and we're bringing people together from all over the world, the AI can help us with our engagement with our members because we're able to reach them with interesting communication, with personalized communication. With the AI, we will also be have more data on our delegates, so we'll have a much better idea of what actually they want to talk about and why they want to come to a particular part of the world to talk about those topics.
Mm-hmm. We talked about these 2 days a lot about how to engage participants, and associations many of them are really good in that, but some of them are really old school, I would say, like plenary sessions by plenary sessions and so on. How can you, what can you suggest to our audience? How can we engage association participants better so that they are always in the focus, always in the center of, I would say, of the events itself?
I can go back to our analogy at the beginning of our session today on the marriage. I think we all know, those of us in a good marriage, that the key is to listen. So I think it's the same for our delegates. We need to have conversations with them, maybe not always a survey monkey or a survey asking them what did you like, what did you not like, but have focus groups. We can do that on Zoom. We don't have to meet them in person. So to listen to them and to also follow over a period how trends are changing and the kind of formats that they would be interested in.
Mm-hmm. And if I ask, if I ask you high tech or high touch, what would you say?
Despite what I've said of AI, I would say it has to be high touch.
Okay, super.
We agree on that. The fact that bringing people together creates magic and things happen. It also does cause sustainability issues. How do your members view the challenges of sustainability and the changing environment that they operate in?
Well, I think the meetings industry as a whole are trying very hard to come to terms with sustainability and the changes that need to take place. I think as an industry we need to work better and closer together on this. Could be an area where we could collaborate. I think for the moment we don't really have a standardized process, so everybody seems to be following different standards. So perhaps that's something that we would be able to work with in the future. I think our clients, our corporate clients, they will need to do sustainability reporting. I think our associations will also be demanding of us sustainable approaches. So we all need to work together to reduce emissions and then increase the impact of our events so that we're offsetting not just from a carbon point of view, but we're offsetting by contributing to local communities in the cities where we're having meetings.
Do you believe that ESRS legislation is a game changer because it's obligatory already for 50,000 companies? Many of them are sponsors of your associations, and next year it will be approximately 200,000 in Europe. So we have now a legislation which is forcing us. Will this be a game changer, or you believe that people can voluntarily change behavior?
No, I think it will be a game changer. I think sometimes regulations are needed to push people, and then I think what happens is that in the case of the reporting requirement, it's for companies with over 250 staff. Like I would imagine what will happen is that smaller companies will follow the trend, and the regulations at least will be pushing us to make to do the reporting that is required.
Last but not least, can you share some great examples from your members, what they are doing at their events in regards of sustainability? Well, some good practice cases?
Yeah, so there are a lot of event organizers that are tracking, obviously, what kind of emissions that their events are creating. So they're tracking that, and then from year to year, they are looking for ways by working with sustainable suppliers to reduce that impact. And I think that will continue.
Now, if we look around, we are at IBTM. One of the main events of the year in the calendar for the meetings industry. And the first question I would like to ask is do you as INCON, do you come together at these events? Do you have meetings? Do you meet? Is everybody here?
Yeah, I suppose we can also look at that from an environmental perspective because, yes, some of these international meetings that take place, we will all come separately for our different interests. And then what we do is that we tag an INCON meeting then at the end of it. So we will have an INCON board meeting now tomorrow afternoon. So it means that there's just one flight for everybody. And it's similar with other industry meetings that are taking place during the year.
How many meetings do you have usually a year?
We have 3.
3?
Yeah.
Because I know you had one in Ljubljana, so
yes,
there you go.
We had the best in Ljubljana.
But if we go back to IBTM as a kind of one of the must-do events, let's call them this way, how do you see the industry going forward? Because talking about conferences, this in a way is a conference. We could kind of tag it like that. It is a trade show, but a lot of people meet here. There is a lot of exchange of knowledge. How do you see events like this also in future delivered to your members as INCON? Are they on the right track? Are there things that you are expecting of them, or do you see things change?
Well, I think one of the things that we did learn on the back of the pandemic, I think the number of meetings that are happening globally have to a certain extent decreased, because we realized that we can do some of our meetings online, but then we really do need to meet in person on a regular basis. So I think these meetings will continue. And people then focus their efforts around certain meetings during the year. And then we run, obviously, quite a lot then as well on Zoom. Yesterday I mentioned that we had the Association Leaders Forum, so that brings together associations for their education program. And I think education programs like that for associations are really important, because if you want associations to come to a big show like this and to meet all the different suppliers and destinations where they can have their meeting, if they tie that with good education the day before or the morning of, I think then there's added value for all parties.
Let me finish slowly with the question I have for you, the last one. Why should somebody work with PCO? I was a PCO too for a long time, so it's interesting to hear your comment. Why any associations needs a PCO at all? Because AI is here, you know. It's like a football. Everybody knows how to organize events. There are so many selectors, you know, like in football. But why? What is the difference if you hire a PCO? What is your opinion about that?
Well, I think the association that decides to outsource their meeting to AI or maybe to a technology provider will learn very quickly that we actually need humans involved in the picture to do the actual organization and to connect our delegates and to organize our speakers. So I don't think the PCOs will be going out of fashion that soon.
I agree with you, definitely. And since we are coming to the end of this talk, we have some fire questions for you. A really simple one. One is, mine is summer or winter?
Summer.
You can elaborate this if you want.
Well, I'm based in Ireland, so I always like the summer because things warm up a little bit and we can go on holidays.
Apple or pineapple?
Pineapple, it's more tropical.
The last one is about whiskey, Scotch or Irish?
Irish.
Irish, okay. No doubt about it. Thanks for being our guest.
Thank you.
For this interesting discussion. Stay tuned. We are coming back in a few minutes.